on the Hardrocker Sports Network from K-Tech 91.3. This is Hardrocker Huddle, your podcast home for South Dakota Mines athletics.
It was good. I actually lived a lot of places before I lived in Iowa. So I grew up a little bit in Wisconsin, and then I grew up a little bit in Iowa. And golf is really popular in both states, definitely in Wisconsin. And my dad got me into the sport, and my mom taught me really how to work hard. So did my dad too, but my dad was big on the sports.
Sure. What kind of, just out of curiosity, what made you move around a little bit from Wisconsin to Iowa?
My dad's job.
Okay.
So he works in the banking industry, and just changing positions every couple of years.
Sure. And then when you were younger, you kind of mentioned your dad being an influence and getting into sports. When did you kind of start getting interested in sports? And initially, I'm sure you were probably involved in more than just golf. What kind of sports did you play?
Oh yeah, my parents put me through the ringer with all the sports. They put me through football and basketball and golf and baseball and everything. And basketball and golf stuck. That actually ended up being those were the two sports my dad played when he was in school. And my dad is just huge on sports. You could ask him any question about any sport, he's probably going to know the answer. So he really pushed for me to play sports, and I got into golf when I was really young. Like, we have videos from when I was probably like 3 or 4,
Wow.
hitting little plastic balls around the house. So I've been in golf for a long time, and I also played basketball up and through high school.
Sure. You mentioned football younger. What kind of made you stick with basketball and golf?
I don't really know. I mean, I'm obviously tall, so that helped in the basketball aspect. But golf was just, I happened to be good at it, and it's what my family liked to do, and so I just kept at it. My dad always gives me crap because I'm built like a linebacker, so I should have played football, but I enjoyed golf more.
Sure. And then you mentioned kind of your high school career. What kind of success did you guys have basketball-wise? And then did you play in state? How did you do? Were you able to qualify for state tournaments in golf?
Surprisingly, we did not find a lot of success in golf. We never made it to state in my 4 years that I was there, which was really disappointing. We had some really close calls. My junior year, we missed by 1, and that was the year I played 4 holes in 10 over, and we missed by 1. And so, looking back on it, I like to blame myself a little bit for that one. I hang my head a lot when we talk about that year, but we were good. We had 3 kids, me and 2 buddies. We were obviously all in the same grade, and we were all really good sticks. All 3 of us went on to play college golf club, or actually on the team. So we were all really good. We just never could put it together when it mattered, unfortunately. And then basketball, I got really lucky and happened to play with probably the best basketball player to ever come out of Iowa. So we made it to state our senior year, and that was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we didn't make it out of the first round. But it was still a really cool experience, just going to state, playing in, I think it was the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, just in front of 3,000-4,000 people. It was crazy.
Yeah, who was the guy you played with in Iowa?
Joe Wieskamp.
Okay.
He had a solid.
Of Iowa now, right?
He had a solid 3-year career at Iowa, and he's now plays for the Austin Spurs.
Okay.
So he got drafted by the San Antonio Spurs and now plays for the Austin Spurs.
Sure. Yeah, I bet that was kind of cool to play with. Do you still have a relationship with him at all? Like, did you know him pretty well?
Unfortunately, no. We once we got out of college, we went our separate ways. So I think I sent him he hit a game winner or something. They played Tennessee my freshman year in the NCAA tournament, and they either beat them or they had some big win back in 2019. And I sent him a text and I just told him, hey, keep doing what you're doing. I know I don't talk to you a lot, but we're watching even in South Dakota. And he responded, said thanks, and the whole night. So it's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what then, getting into college, were you kind of choosing between basketball or golf, or did you kind of know early on that golf was probably what you were going to play? And what was your recruiting process like?
I didn't start I didn't think I was going to play college sports until like the end of my junior year of high school. I got into the recruiting scene really late, just because I couldn't make up my mind. I was kind of had this love-hate relationship with golf towards the end of my high school career because we had such a good team and seen pretty little success. So I was like, is it worth it kind of thing? And after we lost by one, or didn't lose by one, but after we missed state by one, I was like, man, this just makes me want to play more. And I realized I only had 1 year left, and I was like, that doesn't work. So I really wanted to keep playing. Didn't look too much into the basketball side of things. I was decent enough that I could get recruited, but I never looked into it. My knees and I had a lot of body issues that didn't want me to play basketball. So golf was the low injury risk sport that just kept me coming back.
Sure. And then what brought you to South Dakota Mines? Well, did you know kind of early on that you wanted to be an engineer, or did you know anything about the school at all? And what other schools maybe were you considering?
I didn't know I wanted to be an engineer until I found out about engineering. I knew when I was looking for like potential degrees and stuff like that, I really love making stuff and designing and creating and that kind of process, but I didn't know engineering existed or mechanical engineering existed and was really that until my junior or senior year of high school. So once I figured that out, then it was easy for my mom and I to start narrowing down colleges, being like, all right, mechanical engineering is what I want to major in, and then I also want to play golf. And South Dakota Mines, you're going to get a pretty good engineering degree, and you can also play golf while you're here. So it fit the bill pretty darn good.
Sure. Initially, when you came here, you were probably here maybe 2 coaches before Coach Wheeler, or just...
No, so I got here, I was recruited by Ty.
Okay.
And Ty was my coach my first year here, and then he moved on to bigger and better things, and Wheeler stepped in.
So what was that kind of like, switching coaches, the summer between your freshman and sophomore year, and what was the adjustment like with Coach Wheeler?
I had already done the coach switch thing in high school, so I had a coach for my first 2 years of high school, and then a new coach stepped in and was my coach for junior and senior year. So I had already been through the whole coach switch thing, so the change in power, I guess. And a coach doesn't really step in and know everything right away. So you got to give them a little time to, understand like the process of every kid and understand the process of the team and how things used to be. And so we gave Wheeler that time. He's understood, this is how things go. Like, this is how we practice, how we play, how we act on the golf course. Like, he's has since figured it out, and now he's able to coach, I guess. That's the word I'm looking for.
Sure. And then kind of early on, historically there has not been a ton of success with this program, but since he kind of stepped in, there's been some success. Mm-hmm. You got golfer of the week once this fall. There's been 3 top 15 men's scoring averages. One of those is you as well. Sorry to keep.
Oh, you're good.
3 top 15 women's scoring averages, a couple team wins, some individual wins. What has it kind of been like to see that, that process start to take hold and just be part of that kind of rebuild and success?
It's been interesting. So I came in in a recruiting class of 7 kids, and so unfortunately, only 5 of us are on the team now. So 1 transferred and 1 is still at the school, but doesn't play anymore. But being able to see everybody grow over these past 4 years, we've all developed our golf games in different ways, and we all have different skills, and we all came in with different skills, but the skills we came in with maybe aren't the same skills we have now. So just seeing everybody develop over the years, and obviously now we've gotten more competitive. We've added some really talented freshmen and sophomores, and we've just been able to start putting stuff together and being able to be a little more competitive and consistent when we play.
Yeah, and then the fall, you had, it was a pretty good fall season, but there was maybe a couple rounds where you'd have one good round and then maybe a second round that wasn't as good.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of improve that consistency going into the spring here next week?
Just practice. I mean, golf is such a hard sport. You just gotta keep practicing. You can never, if you're doing one thing good one week and one thing bad, and you only work on the thing you did bad the next week, it's not going to be the same. Like everything changes week to week. So it's being able to control what you can control and being able to. It sounds so much easier because it's like just do it every week, but it's so much harder than that because you just have to put in the time to make sure that you're consistent and you can do what you're capable of doing every week instead of just doing what you're good at or working on things that you're not good at such that you're good at it the next week. It's a whole thing.
Sure. And then what do you kind of have to do this spring to continue that growth from the fall, both individually and as a team?
Be patient is the first thing. Coming out of the winter is always hard because it's really inconsistent. Like, we're lucky enough that we get days that it's 60 or 55 out and we can actually go to the golf course, but we do spend a lot of time indoors, and indoors to outdoors is totally different. So just kind of jumping into the ocean at the beginning of the season here, you don't really know what you're going to be doing with the golf ball. You don't really know what you're going to be doing on the golf course because the indoor, it translates a little bit, but it's never fully accurate. So you have to give yourself time to adjust to playing outdoors, actually walking from shot to shot. So just being patient is a big thing.
Yeah, it's nice to have the indoor simulators, but it doesn't quite match up with actually physically being out on the course.
Mm-hmm.
So you start up pretty quick. Next week you're headed to Vegas to play in the Warrior Invitational. How excited are you to just get back to being out on the course again, getting some warm weather?
Hugely excited. Could not be more excited. Weather's gonna be great. It has to be great. It can't be bad. And then just playing golf outside and being able to enjoy time with the team and just seeing the ball fly.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot of fun.
What are your kind of expectations, both as a team and individually, going into this first meet, and then how do you kind of carry that over throughout the spring season?
Compete. We, like you said, we've struggled with being competitive in the past, but we've started to see more success, and we just want to keep adding to that. We want to keep building. We want to keep beating RMAC teams, which we've struggled with in the past. We've started to do it more often. We've been able to compete and beat these teams that have historically beat us. So we're feeling pretty good because we know we can do it, and now we know we can keep getting better and we can start moving up the ladder, sort of thing.
Yeah, you have some pretty good talent on the team, and as a team too, you seem to be pretty cohesive, and everyone kind of has the same. You all want to get to kind of the same place, which is important. What do you feel like maybe your goals? Obviously you're a senior, so you won't be here next year. But where do you see maybe the future of the program going, and how proud are you to be a part of that?
Future of the program is we've got a lot of young guys. We've got 3 sophomores and 4 freshmen right now. So just making sure that they can learn from us older guys, making sure that we're leaving them with good, like we're influencing them in positive ways. We're not teaching them bad habits. We're not teaching them anything negative. We want to make sure that we're building them up. We're interacting with them in positive ways such that, they want to stay here. They want to continue competing. And then they want to get better. So.
Yeah, you have another home event this spring. You had one in the fall. How much of a difference is it to be able to play, on your home course, so to speak, compared to having to travel? And does that give you any kind of advantage?
It definitely does. We've been, us older guys have been at Arrowhead for like 3 years now, so we know every tree. We know every limb. We know every blade of grass. We know a lot about that golf course. So we've got a lot of knowledge that we're able to pass on to these younger kids, and we're, there's a lot of slopes at Arrowhead that, you don't know if you're just coming in from out of town. So it's a huge advantage being able to play a home course, because you've spent so much time there. And then, kids coming from out of town are going to have to adjust really quickly versus we can just take the knowledge that we've built up over these past couple of years and just apply it.
Yeah, and you've won a couple times there, I believe. Not this year, but I think 2021 season, I guess it would have been the COVID year. Mm-hmm. In the fall. I believe you won at least once there, and won a couple other tournaments too. So
yeah, obviously
there's been some growth since you've been here, which is important. How much have you enjoyed just being a part of that, being a part of the golf team?
It's been a lot of fun. Coach he's got a whiteboard in his office that keeps track of who's he recruiting, who's signed, and it's always fun to pick his brain a little bit and be like, all right, who'd you sign? Who's coming in? What competition are we gonna have coming in next year? And he'll happily tell you, oh, this person hits it forever. This kid's gonna compete right away. He keeps he wants to keep everybody on their toes. So even though us seniors or I guess us older guys have been here for 4 years, he's going to bring in kids that can compete and keep us older guys on our toes.
Yeah, just having that competition, I'm sure, is helpful just to motivate you a little bit.
Huge.
So going into some of the other stuff, what has your experience been like here academically? I know you're in SAC as well. Why did you decide to get into SAC, and what do you like about SAC, and what's, for people who maybe don't know, what is the purpose of SAC?
So SAC is the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. I can't remember the full shtick that is our motto, but it's something along the lines of we want to maintain a good, we want to help out in the community, we want to make a difference on campus, and we want to make sure athletes are well represented. So we do a whole bunch of stuff. I've been lucky enough to help out with halftime activities, so I work closely with Cassie Kosiba, and put together halftime activities to help get students to the game, help build the student section for, basketball, sometimes football, but not really, volleyball and soccer. And then I also helped with the hours of Surbeck's dinner hours were not accommodating for student athletes. We would have a lot of cross-country runners and golfers who would go out to practice later at night, or they would stay late or they just, they wanted to practice because that's what they wanted to do. But they would get back and Surbeck wouldn't be open. And so we wanted to help accommodate for those students, and we were lucky enough to help change the hours there. So we do really anything that helps us build the community, help the community, and then help the student athletes.
Sure, and then in addition to that, I believe we talked about this already, but you're a mechanical engineering major.
That's correct.
So what kind of initially got you into mechanical engineering, and what have you enjoyed about being in that major the last 4 years?
Like I said earlier, I love making stuff. I love being able to put parts together. I love being able to formulate creative ideas and being able to have some tangible thing in front of you that you can say, I made this. And mechanical engineering is just that. I mean, I've had so many projects. We made, my sophomore year, in our sophomore design class, we made a automatic plant watering system where you read how dry or how wet the soil is, whatever, right? So it's been a lot of projects. It's been a lot of what I wanted to do. It's been a lot of creating and being creative and design and understanding how to make things better.
Yeah, and then what kind of internships and job-related experience have you had while you've been here?
So I interned with a company in my hometown called GPC, which stands for Grain Processing Corporation. I'll give you one guess as to what they do. It's processed grain. So I was a project manager in their starch division, where I did anything from map out the piping in buildings to, I don't really know. It was a moisture sensor for the starch that they were making. So I was, putting in sensors in part of the building. I was doing piping diagrams. I was doing a whole bunch of stuff just as a project manager for them. And then I've also worked at a golf course, shocker, while I've been at school. And that's helped me with also being a manager, because I've worked in a bag room and I've also worked in the pro shop where I've had to manage the kids in the bag room. So being able to get the experience on both ends of the table, I can go to employers and say, I have experience managing projects. I have experience managing not subordinates, but like younger kids or people who are doing stuff for you. I have experience in both of those aspects, so I can, if you need me to do either of those things, I can do it. And then obviously being at school is like a project manager, because you've got a million projects going on at all times. So you get a lot of experience managing time and stuff like that while you're here at school.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned a couple things that when I was in school, at my school, it was nowhere near this rigorous, so I couldn't even imagine trying to be an athlete here, plus going to school, plus, succeeding academically. I believe you had a 4.0 last semester.
Yes, I did.
And you're like 3.5-ish total. Mm-hmm. How have you been able to, just manage your time and stay organized and been able to accomplish those things?
It was definitely a learning process. I came in not knowing how to manage my time whatsoever. I came in and I was really kind of lost. I was trying to figure out, how do I manage? I want to play golf every day. I want to go to the golf course and spend 12 hours there. But, I do have to go to class, which is just awful. No. So it's definitely a learning curve. You make a calendar, whether I use an app on my phone to keep track of, what do I have going on in the day. Some people have, tangible things they write out, they leave themselves Post-it notes. It's, you just figure it out, really. I mean, once you understand that, all right, you've got classes and you've got workouts and you got to be able to put in time to practice every day. You just start to build this idea of, I can manage. All right, if I've got an hour break, I can go home, eat lunch, be back on campus. I can do this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely something. If you haven't done it before, it's definitely a learning curve, and then if you've done it before, you get to get really good at it.
Sure, and then what kind of just going into kind of mental health, that's something that's pretty important for athletes, especially, you know, the amount of time you guys spend in your sports, in your classes. What do you do personally to just take a little bit of care of your mental well-being?
Golf is a great escape. Golf is, I mean, you get to be outside, you can just be by yourself, throw music in, you can really just kind of get into your own space, and that helps a lot. That's one of the reasons I fell in love with golf so much, was because, you know, after school got done in high school, I could go to the golf course until 8 o'clock at night, and I could just do my own thing. I could be free in a sense. And then, if I'm being totally honest, I have some friends who have dogs, and dogs are awesome. So I spend a lot of time with those friends of mine who do have pets, and just an animal can help you get through anything, because they don't care how your day went. They just want to play, they just want to snuggle, they just want to do whatever. So that always brightens my day when I get to hang out with my friends and their pets.
Yeah, obviously playing golf, you know, it's an outside sport. The sun, it's a huge advantage to have that, your sport be a mental escape, so to speak.
Yeah.
What kind of hobbies, when you do have a little bit of free time, what kind of things do you like to do outside of, you know, golf, outside of school, outside of the hanging out with dogs?
I love hiking. So on top of golf being outside, I love just being outside in general. Hiking's really great, especially here. The Black Hills are amazing, and even if you can't get to the Black Hills, you don't have enough time. It's going out to the Black Hills is kind of a day thing, but we've got some great just trails here in Rapid, which is crazy to think about, because you've got Founders Park, you've got Dinos Park, you've got Canyon Lake. You've got some really fun just walking paths, hiking trails here in Rapid that you can take a break for even an hour, and you can get out of the house, you can go just exist, and you don't have to worry about anything. So hiking's a big one, and then I play some video games. Me and my roommates, I should say, we play Wii Sports a lot.
Sure.
So that gets a little competitive. That helps too. Just
play some of that Wii golf too, where you stick to the
oh
others.
Man, I am so good at Wii golf. You have no idea. If we ever need to take a breather or just enjoy ourselves for an hour or two, we'll throw on the Wii and play video games in general, really.
Sure. We kind of already talked a little bit about the academic stuff, but you mentioned you do have a job lined up already. Can you tell us a little bit just about where you're going to be, what type of job you're going to have?
Yeah, so I am lucky enough to I will be lucky enough to work for Epic Medical Software when I graduate. I will be a technical solutions engineer, which will help with it will help maintain a good standing with customers, so customers being really any medical facility that uses the Epic software, as well as I guess just nurses and doctors in general. So it'll help maintain a good standing between us and them, as well as help develop new software and assist in project management. That'll be in Madison, Wisconsin. Oh my goodness. And one of the big pulls for me to go there was actually I have a lot of family there. So it wasn't something I had originally thought myself to be doing once I graduated. I know I talk a lot about creating and making stuff, so software is a huge change from that, but they seem like a great company. I really liked their values that they pushed while I was interviewing, and then just being able to be close to home, close to family, and Madison's a great area too, really beautiful. So it seemed like the right decision to get a job there.
Sure. You mentioned Epic Software. Can you talk a little bit about what Epic Software is, what it does?
Yeah, absolutely. So they are the leading manager of patient information or patient documents in the United States. So the original reason they were created was because a nurse in Flint, Michigan found the connection between children having symptoms and the high lead levels in the water. So that was the main reason Epic started, was because, if you have this large amount of documentation that, can show you patterns or some sort of how the community is being affected, you can apply all of it. And so Epic does a lot of patient record management. They do a lot of that's about all I can remember off the top of my head. They use the patient information for a lot of stuff, and then they do a lot of it's funny, we actually use Epic software in the athletic department for the trainers. They sent me a link to, it's called My Chart, and because I was receiving some certain treatment, and My Chart is through Epic, and so the trainers here use Epic to help keep athletes, they're making sure they're getting the right prescriptions, making sure they're getting the right treatment, stuff like that.
Sure, interesting. I think other medical providers have My Charts and stuff too, so I'll have to look next time I see one and see if that's through Epic as well. Probably is. So obviously you've been here 4 years, you're about to graduate here in May. When you kind of look back at your time here, what do you think are the things that you've enjoyed most or maybe most proud of?
Definitely how I've developed just as a person in general. Like we talked about, the whole managing time thing. I don't want to say I'm a pro by any standards, but I'm so much better at managing my time. I'm so much better at communicating with people through email, through to my groups that I'm in for classes. I've developed so much as a person that it's funny to look back at emails I sent when I was a freshman or a senior in high school. I'm like, oh my god, those were awful. So it's been fun to look back and see how much I've progressed just as an adult, just being able to control myself on the golf course, being able to apply myself in the classroom, just that whole, you grow up when you're in college.
Yeah, that's one of the main things I think college is for, on top of actually teaching you things. It teaches you how to, problem solve, and it teaches you how to be more organized and just be a better adult, I guess, kind of like what you were saying. So if you were to talk to somebody who was maybe a senior in high school who wasn't sure where they wanted to go to school yet, what would you say about South Dakota Mines?
Do you like knowing how things work? Because if you come here, you're gonna find out how you design buildings, how every little aspect of engineering works, and whether you're a mechanical engineer or a chemical engineer, you're gonna learn a lot. Is the thing is you learn a lot while you're here, and the professors care a lot. I know I'm lucky enough to have my advisor as a professor this semester, and he cares so much about making sure everybody in the class is learning what they're supposed to be learning, making sure that everybody is keeping up with the class, and the classes are small enough that he can do that. He knows everybody by name, which is amazing. There's 20 kids in the class, and he could point to everyone and tell them, "Hey, Joe, like, how you doing?" So just the small class sizes are amazing because the professors can actually get to know you. They can help you. They can teach a lot better because they don't have to teach to hundreds of students to this huge lecture hall. So that's a huge pull here for mines. And then you just learn a lot. You get put through a lot of projects, you get put through a lot of different ways to learn, and you learn how to adapt. So, yeah.
Sure, and then kind of this along those same lines for a freshman who's maybe struggling a little bit, what would your advice be to them to be able to, stick through it and finish here?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. You're gonna feel a lot worse if you don't ask for help than if you just take like the 5 seconds to overcome the fear of asking for help. Office hours are great. Just sending an email helps a lot. Professors are really willing to help. Professors really want to see you succeed, and they want to help. And just asking for help, even if it's from like a classmate or somebody, it always makes you feel a lot better because you reached out, you opened yourself up to, you can get stuff done on your own, but it's a lot harder if you don't know what you're doing. So being able to ask for help helps you open yourself up, and it helps you learn a lot more.
All right, I don't have any other questions for you today, Bryce. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck next week in Vegas. Hopefully you guys, come back and get some momentum for the season.
Yeah, thank you.